Like the fingers of your hand, like the clutch of the Hagraven, like the arrows to kill a bear. 5 are the aspects of Lord Hircine. You may meet any of the 5. All are true and right, and death in the woods. All are worthy of reverence. Whether you are on the trail of a great stag, or have the eyes of some terrible beast set upon you, he is there, he is watching. And if you wish to have any semblance of hope, it is he you must invoke, for he is the master of the hunt, and the hunt must be fulfilled. Hey everyone, how's it going? My name is Jeremy and welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be having a look at one of the more ordinary, relatively speaking, Daedric princes, one who embodies far more primal, grounded, even familiar ideas. We'll be examining the existence of Hircine, the Daedric lord who is the spirit of the hunt. His sphere encompasses all things involving the hunt, as well as the chase and sacrifice of mortals. He is an entity heavily associated with the most primal and natural characteristics of mortals, and is even said to be half the conscience of man, and the father of all werebeasts. In this video we'll be exploring and trying to understand who Hircine really is, his realm of oblivion, the hunting grounds, and recognizing his connections and affairs within the mortal realm. We're going to delve into the ongoings of this Daedric lord and realize his true intentions behind his affairs within Tamriel. Now, before getting into the gist of things, I would like to remind you that if you ever find yourself enjoying this video, then consider liking the video. And if you ever find yourself in the hunting grounds, in the pursuit for more Elder Scrolls Quarry, then consider subscribing. It would really mean a lot to me and I do truly appreciate it. So who is Hircine exactly? Hircine is one of the many Daedric princes that can be found within the Elder Scrolls universe. Each of these princes represent a particular sphere of influence. In this case, Hircine's domain is the hunt, the greatest game and the chase, and therefore he represents an integral part of nature. Hircine is known by many names throughout Tamriel: the Huntsman, Lord of the Hunt, Master of Beasts, the Master of the Chase, and the Hunt Father. He is one of the more commonly worshipped Daedra in Tamriel, despite the fact that he never actually seeks out worship or reverence in the same way that other Daedra might. Other Daedra, like Molag Bal or Boethia, might demand more cliché kinds of worship, like sacrifices or rituals at an altar. Hircine, however, is worshipped far more practically through the thrill of the hunt, through the chase, the sport. Every time a hunter chases and kills its prey, this is, in a way, a sacrifice to Hircine. But for him it's more than just sacrifices. It's not just about the end result of the hunt. Every time the prey is caught or escapes, even if the hunter becomes the hunted, it's all the same. It's still a form of his worship, regardless of whether you know it or not, and regardless of the outcome of the hunt. As long as it is a chase, a fair hunt, where the prey always has a real chance at escaping, it appeals to Hircine. Additionally, he doesn't have much interest in trying to deceive or trick mortals in his tests, as other Daedra might. He is rather straightforward, seeking people out simply to test them, and to reward those who prove themselves to him. The Bosmeri go by a different name for Hircine, instead naming him half the conscience of man. This could represent the more primal nature that is inherent within every immortal, the deeper call for the hunt, or the more natural and hidden animalistic traits that are a part of man. This idea then takes on a much more literal meaning, as Hircine is also believed to be the forefather of all werebeasts, in particular lycanthropy. Lycanthropy is the supernatural disease that transforms someone into a werebeast, individuals who are crossed between their original race and one of several possibilities of creatures. Although the most common strain of lycanthropy is with werewolves, there are also various other strains you can come across in Tamriel. The werebears that can be found in Solstheim, were-boars, were-lions, and more. Even were-sharks are rumoured to roam the oceans around Tamriel. So normally, lycanthropy would only refer to someone able to transform into a werewolf. However, on Tamriel it would seem that this term is used far more carelessly, as anyone able to undergo the transformation into a werebeast in general is called a lycanthrope. Hircine views lycanthropy as a blessing to those who it is bestowed upon, and resents those who regret receiving its gift. It's believed that Hircine unleashed the curse of lycanthropy early on in Tamrielic history, and that the first few that were personally blessed by Hircine himself are known as the First Turned, in a similar kind of situation with Molag Bal and his Daughters of Cold Harbour. Any person cursed with this disease has their soul claimed by Hircine, and rather than entering into their preordained afterlife, they instead will spend eternity in Hircine's realm of oblivion, the hunting grounds. Now, before discussing the realm of Hircine, I wanted to first talk a bit about his main artifacts. To begin with, we have the Spear of Bitter Mercy. The origin and ownership of this weapon is fairly uncertain, however depictions of Hircine almost always show him wielding the spear. The spear with 5 points is not only another name for this weapon, but also one of many epithets the Reach folk use for Hircine. The legend of Thane Icehammer speaks of a Nord who unknowingly killed several were creatures during a hunt. This angered Hircine, and in retaliation thrust the Spear of Bitter Mercy into Icehammer's side, breaking the tip off and leaving it lodged inside of him. The magic of the spear began to turn him mad, and ultimately led to him murdering an acolyte of Kine in a fit of rage. He then fled to a Nordic burial ruin in the mountains, where he was trapped within as punishment, with the spear tip still fueling his madness forever. Despite the lack of info surrounding the Spear of Bitter Mercy, this story does however demonstrate its main trait, the ability to, in a skewed point of view, gift a mortal with the merciful blessing of madness to escape from reality, all the while leaving them with the very bitter drawback of being mad. Another of Hircine's artifacts is the Saviour's Hide. This unusual pelt-like piece of armor is supposedly Hircine's very own skin, which was created when he peeled it from the flesh of his own body, and rewarded it to the first mortal to escape his realm. The mortal who was gifted this went on to fashion it into the functional cuirass that can be found today. The hide wearer who uses the skin of the greatest hunter is gifted with the ability to resist magic. Lastly, we have the Ring of Hircine, an engraved metallic ring depicting the head of a wolf. It is blessed by Hircine with the ability to allow lycanthropes to control and change their transformations at will, unaffected by the moons or by bloodlust. This ring is invaluable to lycanthropes, as what was once a curse with uncontrollable transformations is now a power that can be used at will. For non-lycanthropes, the ring is often useless. However, there are times that it has been known to not only grant the temporary ability to transform into a werewolf, but also to extend the wearer's life by unnatural amounts. Obtaining this ring and its powers is not so easy as simply finding the ring and wearing it, however. Hircine is known to punish those who did not legitimately earn the ring and its powers, and as such, he will strip the powers from the ring, removing the control it gives the wearer over their inner beast. And not only that, but he also curses the ring as punishment, and instead of giving the wearer control, he instead takes the control away, and makes their transformations random and unpredictable. In the 4th era, there was an event in Skyrim which makes a great example of Hircine's judgment being carried out involving the ring. In this event, a Nord named Sinding, who had been, in Hircine's opinion, blessed with the gift of lycanthropy, who had stolen the Ring of Hircine, in an attempt to control his transformations. This attempt to circumvent the effects of lycanthropy angered the Prince of the Hunt, who in response cursed the ring. Instead of being blessed with the ability to control transformations at will, it was instead cursed with transformations at random. This led to Sinding accidentally murdering an innocent young girl from Falkreath.
Come to gawk at the monster. A little girl is dead because of me. Believe me, it wasn't anything I ever intended to do. I just lost control. I put it on, and the changes just came to me. I could never guess when. It would be at the worst times. Like with the little girl.
Now, as I mentioned earlier, any person who attains the disease of lycanthropy is ultimately fated to end up in the hunting grounds, the realm of oblivion belonging to Hircine. This realm is filled with dense woodlands and vast grasslands, and is populated with not only Daedra, but bears, wolves, and werebeasts. It is also the origin of the mythical unicorn that once graced the lands of Tamriel. As the name suggests, this is not just a realm for the Lord Hircine to have dominion over, but rather as a place for the favourite sport of the Daedra to take place, that being the hunt. Followers of Hircine are promised an afterlife within the hunting grounds, where they are involved in spectacular hunts and experience an endless cycle of violence, death, and rebirth. One day in this realm you might be the hunter, chasing down a great stag and claiming victory over your achievements. Another day you're being chased down by a pack of wolves. For in this realm, Hircine's thrill of the hunt is everlasting. Hunting lodges dot the landscape for inhabitants to reside, and the forests of these landscapes are teeming with powerful beasts, allowing the followers of Hircine to engage in the most spectacular of hunts. For the devoted, this place is a paradise. During the daylight hours, werebears and fierce Nords stalk the lands, And when the sun sinks below the horizon, Hircine rises with his pack of wolves to take his turn in the cycle. It is in this realm that Hircine's great hunts are a constant occurrence. The Great Hunt, the Wild Hunt, the Ritual of Innocent Quarry, is the name of the spectacular hunts conducted by Hircine. Outside of his realm, great hunts are nothing short of rare, and supposedly only occur once every era. Hircine calls these hunts for his own amusement, and to punish those that defy him. In these events, Hircine will announce the hunted party, referring to them as the Hare, and hunters will compete to win the boon of Hircine. These hunts can take place anywhere he deems fit, and the next location can only be found through dissecting the stomach of a fresh wolf corpse. The Bloodmoon Prophecy is a Scowl legend where the Lord of the Hunt enters the Mundus once every era. The Great Hunt is preceded by 4 signs. The first is the arrival of the Hounds, with werewolves emerging on the Isle of Solstheim. The second is the fire from the Eye of Glass, in which a pillar of fire shoots from the surface of the frozen Lake Fjalding. The third is the Tide of Woe, where the mass bodies of hawkers wash up on the northern shores of the island. The final sign, and the namesake of the prophecy, is the Blood Moon, when Secunda turns crimson, stained from the blood of the hunter's prey. The details of the hunt is not always the same between eras. Whether it's the hunting of a tribe or just one man, the hunt will not end until the prey has been caught. Many clans of the Reachfolk worship Hircine and have their own belief that there are 5 aspects of Hircine, which are each individually worthy of being worshipped and entail the main ideas of Hircine and his hunt. First is Auerbeg, the hunter. Auerbeg is the hunter who bears the spear of bitter mercy and comes to Nirn to hunt new quarry and bring prey native to the hunting grounds to Mundus. Auerbeg is the aspect of Hircine that hunters would typically invoke when going on a hunt. Second is Storebeg, the wolf. Storebeg is said to have introduced the gift of skin shifting to mortals to remind them that they can be predators, not prey. When he comes to Nirn, he hunts with these skin shifters and seeks to adopt new children and turn them pelt side out, turning them into lycanthropes. Third is Orokenbeg, the great stag. He comes to mate with the hinds and may transform a mortal woman into one for the same purpose. He arrives to cull the herd of the weak, and his hooves drive the blood summons. This aspect is interesting in particular, as it demonstrates how Hircine represents all forms of the hunt, not just the predator and prey dynamic, but rather all aspects of it found throughout nature. In this case, he is representing the hunt and the competition for a mate in nature. Next is Gullabeg, the quick fox. Gullabeg is the trickster, and at his worst, he will deceive mortals into meeting their own demise, or will use his swift bite to weaken his prey. Gullabeg is said to reward those he finds clever by teaching them tricks and secrets. Lastly, the 5th and final aspect is Hrokibeg, the bear. He embodies strength and comes to Nirn seeking solitude, peace from labours, and the renewal of the burning spirit within. He blesses those who make offerings of mead with the power of the bear heart. He will, however, attack those who disturb his peace. His strength makes up for his lack of speed, and he will tear his prey apart if he catches them. These different aspects of Hircine make him the most commonly worshipped Daedric prince among the Reachfolk. In this culture, they call him the Hunt Father. He is so greatly revered to the point that many of the top-ranking warriors in Reachman societies commune with Hircine, and in doing so will ritualistically replace their own beating hearts with poisoned briars, thus earning themselves the name of Briarhearts. Additionally, lycanthropes are accepted in these societies, which demonstrates their admiration and acceptance of Hircine and their culture. It's also believed that Hircine taught the Reachmen how to live in the now, as well as how to be cunning and strong, so that they may survive the Reach. And with that, we have covered the core ideas surrounding the Hunt Father. Hircine is one of the princes who has a very clear idea of what his sphere is and means. His ideals rarely cross over to those of the other Daedra or Aedra, unlike many of the others. And the rules he lays out are never blurry. He always strives for fair game and an honourable hunt. While this does leave him to being one of the more simpler of the Daedric princes, it also makes him one of the more clear-cut and well-defined ones. The things he represents are clear and defined, and because of this leads to him being one of the most memorable of the princes. Perhaps that simplicity is ultimately what makes Hircine so compelling. There is little need to look beyond the hunt to understand him, because for Hircine, the hunt itself is the point. And that, guys, brings us to the end of the video. Thank you heaps for watching and joining me in exploring the concept of Hircine. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and subscribe to see more Elder Scrolls content like this. My name's been Jeremy, and I'll see you in the next one.